Hey everyone, it's Coach Christine and welcome to this week's episode of Christine's Kitchen. So we seem to have lost our springtime. It is gray and rainy and kind of cold out today. And whenever the weather turns gray and rainy, I like to turn to comfort food. In the house here, that can mean a number of things. It could be like a casserole or chili or pastas. So I'm cooking with what I have in the kitchen, and that is going to be pasta today. Now, I want to keep it a little bit healthier since we have been quarantined. It's easy to put on a little extra weight. So today is all about simple swaps and keeping it healthy. We are going to be making a spaghetti squash with an Italian sausage and pairing it with a side salad. It's actually a very fast and easy dinner to make. The longest part of it is just baking the spaghetti squash. Stay tuned and I will certainly show you how to cut this, get it into the oven, because once this bakes, everything else is a matter of minutes to get it together. Now this, my friends, is a spaghetti squash. You've probably walked by it in the grocery store a number of times and thought, what is that gigantic yellow thing and how do you make it? It's a spaghetti squash, and the reason they have the name for it is once this is cut in half and baked, you can take a fork and just scrape the inside and it becomes spaghetti noodles. Now the reason that I love using this as a simple swap is if you take your average serving of pasta, just regular spaghetti noodles, you're looking at about 200 calories. 1/2 of this bad boy will feed a big bowl of pasta, and you're ranging, depending on the size that you use, anywhere from 30 to 60 calories only, and it's a natural plant-based food, so you get added nutrients on top of it. So stick with me and I'll teach you how to make this simple, easy dish, and it's absolutely delicious. So it's time to get the chef's knife out. This is a really tough squash to cut into. So to get it started, I've actually already sliced off the ends just because that's the hardest part of the rind. And then what you do is literally just cut it in half. Now I usually like to start in the center of it here, and I cut in and I just gently work my way through. You're gonna cut it all the way down in half, follow that around. And voila, you have both of your sides open. So this is what the inside of a spaghetti squash looks like. And what you wanna do is essentially just take these seeds, similar to that of a cantaloupe. Before you eat it, you'd always scrape the melon seeds out. Same thing with the squash. So you can take these, scoop them out, put them into your compost for later, and then we will get this seasoned and ready to go in the oven. We have the seeds out, and it's time to season them. So basically what we're going to do is take a little bit of olive oil. Now this is gonna come down to your simple swaps. Feel free to use an olive oil spray. My can is almost out and I'm gonna reserve it for other cooking later. So I'm actually gonna use a single tablespoon of regular olive oil. Take a little brush and just brush it on top of each of your squashes here. Just enough to coat it lightly. You probably won't even use the full tablespoon. And then we go ahead and top it with whatever seasonings you like. Since I'm doing a little bit more of an Italian base, I'm gonna do a little sprinkle of salt, pepper, and keep in mind, if you're doing it out of the containers, it's really good to do it from a little bit higher up. That way, as the seasoning comes out, it equally distributes and you don't have one pile of salt or pepper on any one given bite. So we got salt and pepper. I'm also gonna use a little bit of oregano, basil, and garlic seasoning. So just a little bit of a sprinkle on each of these. This way I'm gonna have some really beautiful flavors that's mixed in, and the noodles are gonna have some great just zest to them. Last but not least, we're gonna add the garlic. Again, this is all to taste, so do your own preference on the type of seasoning that you like. Now, here is the important part. You're gonna take the squashes, put them face down on a cookie sheet. You can line it with foil or parchment. If you don't have that at home, just spray your pan with cooking spray. Place this in the oven at 400 degrees and you're gonna bake this for 45 minutes. So let's get in the oven and we'll check in just a little bit. All right, so there is about 10 minutes or so left on the spaghetti squash that is in the oven. So we want to start the sausage and get the sauce. So what I'm using today is actually a vegan-based, plant-based sausage. The brand that I use, if I will just promote them because they are fabulous, come and get a close-up on this label. It's Field Roast. They do an Italian sausage, a chicken apple sausage, and a chorizo sausage. I've tried them all, they're amazing. And honestly, even before I went vegan, I was using the sausage into my recipes anyway because Josh couldn't ever tell the difference. Could you, Josh?
Nope, not at all.
It's delicious. Now here's what I love about it. It's a single serving is a sausage. It's 220 calories. There's 8 grams of fat and 25 grams of protein, and that is very rare to find in a plant-based protein on its own. So enough about the nutrition. This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna take them, cut them at a diagonal and about 1/2 inch thickness, and that way we've got our pieces that'll be perfect just for having some great meaty chunks into our pasta dish tonight. Take these, put them into a pan over medium warm heat. We're gonna spray that pan with a little bit of cooking spray just so these don't stick. And you can adjust the recipe based on how many people you are cooking for. So basically each serving is going to be 1/2 cup of sauce and 1 sausage each. So we're gonna take the sausage, just toss it into our warm pan here. Grab your spatula and really just cook it. It's already seasoned, so this is probably the easiest recipe you will ever have to do. Kind of like set it and forget it. So we're gonna let this cook, and we want the flavors of the sauce to simmer with it. So since there are 2 of us, I am gonna grab my sauce here. Open my jar, my hands are a little slick from the meat. And we'll give it a shot in a second. I had to have a cameraman loosen it. I needed a hand. So now that my hands aren't wet, we are going to take 1/2 cup for myself. You can use absolutely any kind of sauce you want. Now, I happened to make a bolognese sauce the other day, and I jarred the rest of it so that I can use the leftovers through the week. So I actually am going to have a little bit of meat, kind of meat crumbles and chopped mushroom into my sauce, but there's no rules. Grab whatever jar or can of pasta sauce is your favorite, or whatever's in your cabinet, and just pour it over the top of these sausages. I'm going to turn my heat down now to a low, and I'm just going to let these simmer for about 10 minutes. The sausage itself, just in the warmth of the sauce and the heat of the pan, about 10 minutes, they will be perfectly cooked all the way through. So we will let this just simmer and check back in 10 minutes. Now, a great Italian dinner would not be complete, at least in my house, if I didn't have a green salad to just balance it out. Honestly, it fills me up, and that way I don't indulge in as much pasta usually. Salads are salads. You can put anything you want in it. I'm not going to teach you how to make it, but a couple of tips to think about. For my dinner salad tonight, I'm going really basic as a garden. I threw in some cherry tomatoes and cucumbers and some mixed greens. There is virtually no calories. Honestly, this entire bowl is probably 60, 80 calories all in. You can eat the raw vegetables all day long guilt-free. Now here's where it gets tricky. Most people love to throw in a lot of things like croutons and sunflower seeds and lots of dressing and things to add a lot of texture and flavor, and that's where it can get tricky. So I am adding sunflower seeds, but just a word of caution. The average serving of sunflower seeds is about 1/4 cup, and that is 200 calories. That's a ton of extra calories and fat that is going into a dish. So I'm actually measuring out about 1/4 of that. So I just have a single tablespoon here, and I'm just gonna sprinkle it over. You still have a ton of seeds. It's gonna give plenty of texture for what we're doing. Same thing goes for salad dressing. Rather than just taking it and pouring it on, that is an area that I measure out. A single serving of dressing is always 2 tablespoons, and that is all that I'm going to be putting on for the entire dish here. So once I grab my salad tongs, let me find them here.
In the back.
In the back. Why are they hiding in the back? Found them. All you're gonna do is mix it up, and you could add a little bit of crushed black pepper to taste, and you've got a perfect dinner salad. So let's get everything out of the oven and ready to go. So, moment of truth is here. I've taken them out of the oven. We're gonna very carefully flip them over. They're nice and warm. So come zoom in, let me show you what we're doing here. So basically this is what they look like when they come fresh out of the oven. Now all you do is take your fork and just gently scrape. See how that just makes everything noodle up? It noodles. That is why they call it a spaghetti squash. So we take this, we'll do it for each of the noodles. I'm gonna grab a bowl. I like to put mine in a bowl. Josh likes to just scoop it all out and have it separate, but I just sort of like my little shell. So we're gonna keep it for that for presentation today. So we'll finish scooping and we're gonna come over and load up our sauce and our sausage. Just pour that over the top here. Another scoopful. Sprinkle a tiny little bit of cheese because who doesn't like a little cheese on the pasta? Really, it's only probably a tablespoon or so. You don't have to go over the top. It's just adding a little bit of flavor. Fresh black pepper. And we have our dish. I'm gonna have it with my salad, have an amazing dinner, and we will hopefully see you guys next week.